Hello, everybody, and welcome to Quick Save Club episode number 16. This is the Torchlight II episode. We're finally getting to it.
Good Lord, yeah. Jeez almighty.
Two of us are here. Josh got roped into working in the last minute, but we had to do this show at some point. We've delayed it far too long already, so screw it. We're doing it live.
We're doing it live. Dang nabbit.
We'll go through the whole usual ramble at the start because I just don't feel like it.
And, what do you mean? What ramble?
Well, you know, like the Quick Save Club, spin-off Cartridge Club, all that
Don't
stuff.
you put that in at post when you edit it, though?
No.
I'm the only one who does it live, I thought.
No, we've been doing it, like, since we've done the StreamYard thing, we've been just doing it live.
Okay. Should we at least go over our updated schedule since everything got thrown
off? I got it all in the outline. Did you see the outline?
Yeah, I see it, and it's one of the first things on the outline.
Okay, so let's do it. Twitter, go to our Twitter, Quick Save Club, at Quick Save Club. Check us out over there. I'm pretty sure Josh is looking at that once in a while. So.
Yes.
We're also on the Discord, bit.ly/Quick Save Club. We answer all sort of PC game. And
hang on, I'm gonna have to pause you for a second.
Why? I can keep going. You just mute your mic.
Hello?
We're live. You better mute your mic.
Hey.
Okay, I'll mute you. I can do that. I can mute him. I got the power over here. Yeah, go over there and check bit.ly/Quick Save Club. As you can tell, Ryan is look at this. What am I doing? Can I put look at this room. Look at all the stuff on the ground. How do I do that? How do I make him I wish I knew how to do that. I'm so out of practice. I can do that. I can do that. I can do that. Look at all that stuff. Oh my goodness. Oh. All right. Maybe I should take him down until he's ready to come back. What was I talking about? Yeah, okay. Go over and check out our Discord where we talk about PC games and PC gaming related things, but we also talk about just regular PC stuff. Like someone the other day was, I think it was our good friend. I got it right here. Let me take a look. It was our good friend, Captain. Is it Captain? Wait, I can do this. Yeah, it was Sky Captain. He was looking for how to record off of your PC, like record the audio off of your PC. So people were helping him out there. So that's the kind of stuff you'll get over in our Discord. You can go check us out at the forums on www.cartridgeclub.org. I'm pretty sure Josh is checking that as well. I honestly haven't been on the forums in a very long time. Reminder to check out our sister podcasts. They will be playing some games in February. Cartridge Club is playing the Ghostbusters, the video game. Here's Ryan. He's back. Let me put him back. Here we go. And you can unmute yourself. There you are.
There we go.
Everything okay? Everything good?
Yeah, it was work. Something.
Oh.
Work I was supposed to come in today, and so one of my coworkers was going to finish it for me. It was just like one product or something, and he didn't know where to put it, so he had to call and ask where to put it. So it literally was something where it wasn't worth me going into, and my coworker's like, "Well, if it comes in, I'll just put it out there for you." And so, anyway, sorry.
Fire put out. That's what Ryan does. He puts out fires.
I think Torchlight II is a cursed podcast.
Oh, it absolutely is. We were supposed to do this in October?
Yeah.
Like the last Quick Save Club episode was in October.
Over with as quickly as possible.
Yeah. So that's why I'm just going forward, man. Whatever obstacle comes away, I'm going.
All right. Awesome.
Cartridge Club is playing Ghostbusters, the video game, next month in February. So
awesome.
Get it ready for that. I think the guests will be myself and Richard. So we'll have some Fandango happening on that. So it'll be good times. RF Gen is playing a plethora of those Disney games for the NES. They're playing DuckTales, Chippendales, Rescue Rangers, and The Little Mermaid. So check that out. So we've adjusted our schedule. It has been changing around quite a bit lately and all that. I guess the big announcement for us, I was going to wait for season 2 or season 3 to start before doing this, but we might as well just jump into it in 2021. We're going back to the monthly format. It seems like the every 2 months, we kind of lose momentum a little bit. So the quick save, I guess save point. Yeah, save point. I guess that's kind of retired a little bit. We might bring it back once in a while.
Like if a big game comes along that requires maybe a 2-month, then we do.
Yeah.
You know, like if it's a big RPG or something that requires a little extra time to be put into it.
Yeah.
Then yeah, we'd probably bring back it for those situations. But like I said, like we have like games like Crystal Caves coming up. That literally.
Well, don't spoil it.
Yeah. Oh, you haven't said.
I haven't said it yet.
I had to leave the room in a minute.
Well, the idea is that we'll try to balance it with a heavy game with a lighter game.
Yeah, something like that.
So this month, Torchlight 2, wrapping that up. Next month, we'll be wrapping up our racing games, which we've been playing for a while. In March, we'll be talking about mods, and we'll just any old game with a mod in it, any of your favorite mods and that. Then in April, that'll be the beginning of season 3. We are playing Shadow Warrior. In May, we'll be playing Crystal Caves.
Mm-hmm.
And in June, we'll be playing FTL, Faster Than Light.
Mm.
That's our lineup so far.
Yeah.
So get excited. Get hyped for that.
Yeah.
So in our outline, because I did this 30 minutes ago and things changed in the last 30 minutes. It says all of our hosts are present, but they're not. It's just Ryan and myself, Kevin, buried on Mars. And we're going to talk about Torchlight 2. So let's get into it. So you got it open there? You want to start us off?
Yes. You want to just read the description of it?
Go for it.
Torchlight 2 is an action role-playing dungeon crawler video game developed by Runic Games, released by for Microsoft Windows on September 20th, 2012. It is a sequel to Torchlight, and it features peer-to-peer multiplayer support and extended modding capabilities. Ports to Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, Xbox One were released on September 3rd, 2019, and were developed by Panic Button. Torchlight 2 takes place in a fantasy world where the player characters can be any 4 classes, each with different skills and abilities. The plot starts with the destruction of the town of Torchlight at the hands of the alchemists from the first game, and has a character following the trail of destruction left by the alchemist's wake as he searches for a cure for his illness, which has driven him insane. The sequel to the first game was originally going to be an MMORPG. However, Torchlight 2 was released with both single-player and multiplayer support, as the company felt they could release this much faster than a planned MMO. The game received mostly positive reviews from critics. A sequel, Torchlight 3, was released in 2020. However, that was not made by Runic.
No.
Just throwing that in there.
And I got to say, I'm happy that they made Torchlight 2 and not an MMORPG, because I can't stand those. I've never gotten into a single one of them.
Me neither.
I've tried numerous ones, but I never really got into them.
I was actually cleaning up my computer the other day, and I found some old like MMOs that I tried getting into, like not Two Worlds, but something like that. Like my brother-in-law tried getting me into it. I'm like, why is this still on my computer? I must delete this. I haven't played this in forever, but it's just like I played through the opening tutorial level, mess around a bit, and then completely throw it aside.
I mean, I've tried Star Trek Online. I got that dirt cheap, back when they used to have physical games still. Mm-hmm. I tried they had a free weekend for the Elder Scrolls Online. I tried that out. I just can't get into it. You're sitting there and you're playing, an Elder Scrolls game, and there's other people just running around, and it kind of takes me out of it. I'm trying to get immerse myself into this world, and it's other people just running around doing the same thing. It's just odd to me. So I never got into it. Okay, enough about that. Fun facts. Though the original Torchlight received positive reviews, the game's lack of any multiplayer modes was a near universal criticism by critics and fans alike. In August 2010, Runic announced that they were developing Torchlight 2, a sequel which was conceived as a way to give the series multiplayer support.
Unlike its predecessor, Torchlight II features cinematic sequences, which are produced by Klee Entertainment.
I think that's right.
Yeah, the developers of Don't Starve, Eats, and Shank. I know Shank. I don't know Eats, but I do know what's Eats.
I don't
That.
know Eats. I
Yeah,
know. I know. Don't Starve. I know Shank. Eats. I don't know. I never heard
yeah.
that one.
Fun fact, at least for me personally, I used to have a channel trailer. I don't have it up there anymore. I think I still have the trailer for this podcast on my thing now. But my channel trailer, the very opening scene is like the opening cinematic to Torchlight 2 because I enjoyed it too much.
It's a good one.
And I had like some dubstep in the background. It was showing a bunch of stuff. But the first thing you saw was like the opening scene of Torchlight getting destroyed. But yeah, I really like the little cinematic stuff in there. I like how it. Yeah, well, we'll get to
Well,
that.
we'll get into it. Let's do the final fun fact before we
Final
get
fun
into the
fact.
game. Torchlight 2 received favorable reviews on aggregate review website Metacritic. The game attains an overall score of 88 out of 100 based on reviews from 67 professional critics. The game sold over 1 million copies in 2012, and as of 2015, which was 6 years ago now, the game has sold almost 3 million copies. I bet you it has sold way more than that since it's been ported to all the consoles.
This is what makes me sad that Runic closed its doors.
Yeah.
It's like it's such a popular game, plus the modding community and everything else. It's like but
Well, it's I guess it was Hob that really screwed them over, right? That was the next game that they made. It didn't sell that well, and
it didn't sell very well. Okay, I
no,
knew in the speedrunning community it was kind of a popular game, but
really. I tried playing it and I was enjoying it a little bit, but it just there was nothing like it just didn't keep me invested to keep playing.
See, that's my problem. I didn't buy the game. I just kept playing Torchlight 2 instead. That was it.
I don't even know if I bought it. I think I might have got it for free. I think it was one of the Epic games for free.
See, it might have been a thing, and this happens sometimes with developers. Is they were known for Torchlight and Torchlight 2, and then they stray and try to do something different, but the fans from their other games don't follow as much, and sometimes that kind of bites them. Like some developers, they can get away with that, but I feel like Torchlight was one of those things where it had such a fan base, and then when they went off and did a game that's so different from it, like they didn't quite get the runoff from the Torchlight 2 fans.
Yeah, I think the developers that can get away with it are the ones that their name is bigger than the game itself.
Their name is bigger.
Like Rockstar has I don't know if it's bigger than Grand Theft Auto, but a lot of people know Rockstar. Blizzard, Blizzard is bigger than any of their games. And I don't think Runic Games is on that level.
Yeah.
And I guess we should mention too, it wasn't in the, I didn't see it anywhere, but Runic Games was from the developers of like some people who worked on the Diablo series. Mm-hmm. And then they wanted to make another Diablo game. Blizzard was, I don't know, Diablo 3 was in limbo for a very long time. At the time, this is like Torchlight 1, so this is like 2008 or 2009, and I guess they were just getting anxious. And they were like, you know what, we'll just go off and make our own Diablo-like game, and that's what Torchlight.
A few people from the original Diablo, and I think it was in development a long time anyway. They were just going to do it, and I think just Diablo 3 had its own demons. It had to literally through with their development hell. And so Torchlight 2, I think for a lot of fans, this sort of default became a surrogate Diablo 3 for people, especially since it didn't. Well, it strayed differently from Diablo 2, but at the same time, it felt more in line with a sequel to Diablo 2 than what Diablo 3 turned out to be.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, like Diablo 3 was not well received at launch with that whole auction house and all that. It improved over time, but yeah, for a while there, if you wanted the true successor to Diablo 2, it was Torchlight.
Yeah, pretty much. And like I said, this was kind of the action art. This is, well, I'd give away my ending feelings on this game if I said that. But yeah, let's move on.
Okay.
Trying to get ahead of myself again.
Well, this is the part where we talk about our history with the game. We've both played it before.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. This was my second time playing through it all the way through. That's big for me. I don't usually play games all the way, like more than once. I know that Ryan, you get right into games and you'll finish them and then like, okay, I'm gonna play the game again with a different character. For me, I played through it the first time as a sorcerer, and then this time I played through it as a sorcerer again because I played it on New Game Plus and I wanted to keep my character and just keep going. He was OP as crazy, just knocking things left, right, and center, and I was just having a good time. So it was almost like I I played the game on the toughest difficulty setting because my character was so OP that I was still almost like playing. It was like I was playing on easy mode.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. And that's the reason why this time through, I'm like, well, first off, my history of it, I had the first Torchlight, and I was a huge fan of the first Torchlight game.
Yeah, me too.
In fact, again, going back to the history of my YouTube channel, the first Torchlight was one of the first games I did Let's Plays on.
Okay.
Way, way back when. Never finished it. I never finished one Let's Play on my YouTube channel ever. But there's a ton of videos I have on there. So I was a really big fan of it as it was. And that is because of, I think, Fate was also a game that was, the original Torchlight was highly, that I played a lot of before Torchlight. And it was kind of felt like it was a knockoff of that game in a way. But so I got it day one, and I remember me, my cousin, and my friend from work had a LAN party. Literally, they brought their computers to my house, and day one of Torchlight 2, we played multiplayer. That's how
that's cool.
excited we were. And there were a couple of hiccups because the one problem was you had to have a Runic account to play other than LAN, which was, to this day, I'm not sure if that works or not. We didn't try multiplayer. I think we could never coordinate, but you can still do LAN, I think. But yeah, so that's how hype I was about Torchlight 2. And so yeah, and my first one was the engineer class where you can throw down all these robots to help you and stuff, kind of like a summoner in a way, which is one of my favorite classes. And like I said, I went all the way through to New Game Plus and OP and everything like that. So this time around, I was like, oh, I looked through. I have a ton of characters already started, and I had a character started in hard mode that was a berserker, and I never played as the berserker class. It was literally at the starting town, didn't do nothing with it. So that's what I tried to play with a little bit here, and I got my butt whooped.
Oh, really?
Because it was a new character. I was playing in hard mode with a character I wasn't familiar with, so I had no idea how to build.
Right.
And so yeah, so I was playing the berserker class, which was satisfying because it's mostly all it is a melee class. Basically, you just put points into beating the crap out of people, But yeah, so and then I put a lot of time into the mods, which there's plenty for this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll get into I got mods on the list as well, so we'll get into that. So yeah, that's pretty much like, I guess we're both fans of the game, so not to spoil the end, but I don't think you're gonna hear. I do have some critiques of the game, but we'll get into it in a little bit. So yeah, for gameplay, it plays very much like a Diablo game. I think the first game was almost like a Diablo game where you were going down a pit and the levels were randomly generated and you just kept going down and down and down until you fought a demon. And this one, there's a little bit of a switch on the story where you are chasing after the sorcerer from the first game, which was one of the characters that you could play as. And he's the main bad guy in this game.
I always kind of like that when they do that little connection, and it's just like, because that was my main character on the first Torchlight. So technically, I was playing as the bad guy in the first Torchlight, who eventually turns into the bad guy. But I kind of make him sympathetic because he was doing experiments to try and cure his disease, and the heart of, I can't remember who the main bad guy was in the first Torchlight. He put it in a staff, and it corrupted him. And and stuff like that. Yeah. So it was supposed to be sympathetic, but pretty much by the end of it, you pretty much he's all evil.
Yeah.
A bunch of evil stuff along the way. So I kind of like that connection to it. It kind of like, I like it when games do that. Kind of like Borderlands do that. Like the first Borderland characters are in the second one, but you're not playing as them. They're supporting characters, because you run into the other classes in Torchlight 1 as you progress through Torchlight 2. And now they're kind of NPCs and supporting characters that move the story along, And I kind of always like that when that ties into it. You're not playing as the same people, but they're still there and they're moving the story along, and you see how they progress since you played as them in the first game. And I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, for sure. Even just to get cameos and stuff like that, that's always kind of neat from previous game. Because normally on these kind of games, they don't tie into the previous game story very well. It's not like this was like a real sequel, real continuation of the previous story. It wasn't like, oh, this took place 100 years before or 100 years after or whatever. So it was a neat way to do it. Even though I had like no connection really to the sorcerer character in the first game, because I think the first one I played a melee class in the first game. It's been a very long time since I played the first one, but because pretty much when this game came out, it kind of just took over.
It was a lot bigger than the first one too, because this is one of those games where you keep playing, and as you reach each area, you're just like, oh, okay, and you're like, well, the next area might be the last, and you're just like, oh crap, there's a desert area. Oh crap, there's a winter area. Oh crap, there's, and so it definitely adds the hours to it compared to the first one.
Yeah, so in this game, you're not going down a dungeon. You're going into different areas, and basically, if you just go into an area, they're all randomly generated. There's some certain set things within them. But if you go in and you clear out the area, clear out all the bad guys in the area, that usually will level you up.
Still randomly generated?
It is, because we played a few levels, and there was stuff in different. There was stuff in different spots.
Okay, yeah.
It wasn't like totally, completely, like there is some sort of structure to them, but there is stuff in different spots. It's not like you can just draw a map of it.
And I can't remember. I felt like the main overworld might have been more
that was
set in stone, and then like the dungeons and other areas were a little more random.
Yeah, for sure. And the towns, of course, they are all laid out the same, stuff like that. So, but yeah, it's more the dungeons that you go into. Okay, so we talked a little bit about our characters. Again, I played as a sorcerer. It's the same character. It's that I played the first time. I dumped everything into fire spells, and I had like these big columns of fire that would just come down and wipe everything out. I love in these kind of games where you have like sort of a ranged attack that you don't have to babysit. Like you don't have to constantly, like you got so much going on with moving the character around and staying out of trouble that I like the kind of stuff. Like I would drop those, they were like pillars of fire that would come down out of the sky. Yeah. And I could let the pillars go and they would home in on the bad guys and take off their energy points or health points. And and like that stuff's just the best, because you don't, like if you're playing as a, someone with the bow and like a range or with a bow and arrow or something like that, like, and you're having to aim. Yeah, exactly. You can just like let it go and aim. So I love, what do they call it? Area of attack. AOR,
area attack, or basically.
I love those kind of attacks.
It's with every character, because even with the engineer class, he has like this ground pound, which sends out a ripple, and the ripple will actually go towards the nearest enemies. It's not just randomly making the ripples go out. The ripples will go towards what it's supposed to go towards. So it's like already homing in, which some people be like, wow, well, that's just cheap. It's like, no, it's going to do damage anyway. It's cool that, it makes kind of a mystical thing to it. Which,
I mean, the way I look at it is like, they put it in the game there for a reason. If you don't want to use those, then don't use them. It makes
you feel powerful, and that's what I love about this game is there's a real sense of progression. And that's why I wanted to start anew, because you're pretty weak early on, and even depending on the difficulty, if you're playing on easy difficulty, then you're going to have a pretty good walk. But since I actually started a character on one of the harder difficulties, you're really like, oh crap, like this was the first time I played this game where I had to retreat like multiple times, because I
you got to keep moving.
Got to keep moving, especially since my main character was in the thick of things character. I didn't really have range attacks. I was a melee, get in the middle, beat the crap out of them. And so if you get overwhelmed, you got to be like, okay, I got to make sure my back isn't blocked so I can get out of here, with the Berserker class. Like he has a couple range attacks, but they're not like amazing or anything. He's mostly get in there and beat some people up. Unlike with my engineer class where he does have melee, but a lot of his melee attacks do wide range damage that hit multiple characters. Or Berserker class, you're hitting an individual character and kind of doing side damage to everyone around you. So, but I like that because it gives you that progression. And then I did find myself getting a little stronger, and it's satisfying.
Yeah, you're spot on with that progression thing. I'm trying to look it up quickly now, but I can't find it. Sarah and I were playing. So we did play this game together, most of it. And we were playing a game before this one. I can't for the life of me remember what it was, but we did not make it that far because it felt like as if we were, like we were always stuck. Like we were like, okay, well, we got to go grind to get up to the next level and that. And it felt like very, stop and go kind of thing. And then we started playing Torchlight 2 again. And it was like, level up. All right, stop. Let's put our points here and all that stuff. And it just flowed so much better, and it just playing that game beforehand. I wish I could remember which one it was, but playing that beforehand and then moving to this really made you appreciate how they, how they got that pace in this game so well, The other thing too is like
was it the Greek RPG game, Titan Quest.
It wasn't Titan
Quest. Okay.
No. We have played that, but Titan Quest doesn't really. The multiplayer in that's not that great. I can't remember what game it was. But so the other thing too is in this other game we were playing, we were constantly like inventory full, got to go back and empty out the inventory, and then go back and forth. Whereas this game does that awesome thing. I'm sure it was in Torchlight 1 as well, where you have a pet with you, and your pet will help you fight and all that stuff. You can actually get little boosts for your pet. You can actually get a dog collar and get your pet to do little tricks. But the best thing you could do with this pet is you can take stuff in your inventory and give it to your pet. And once you are full, or at any time really, you can send your pet over to the shop. You'll lose out on him helping you, but he'll go to the shop and sell everything in his inventory, and he'll be gone for about 5 minutes or whatever, while you can still continue on playing the game. You don't have to go back to the town and all that.
Shop for you, so if you're running low on health potions or stuff, he will pick those up for you.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Although, just be careful, I forgot about that, and I put all my fishing stuff in his inventory just because I'm like, oh, cool, I have all these things, and I wanted to transfer because you can fish in this game, and then you can feed fish to your pet, and they will temporarily transform into whatever the fish will do. Like it'll turn into a spider or a monster or something, which is really cool because then you can, so the fishing's actually worth doing. And sometimes you'll get armor too. And I accidentally forgot that he will sell everything in his inventory. I just thought it was just going to sell his main inventory. And he sold all my fish. I went to transform him into something before a boss fight. I'm like, where are my fish? Dang it. Oh well. Yeah, but it's really cool. And you can also teach your pet spells. You can give him spells, and he even has some, not a lot of armor, but a few spots for armor. So he can shoot spells and stuff. I think my one I had could summon skeletons.
Yep. Yeah.
Which is great. I had my pet just randomly summoning skeletons for me while we were fighting.
Yeah. Mine was zombies. And the great thing about that is that it would the mobs that you had to fight, it would distract them. They would go fight them instead of you. So while my timers were going, so I can do my pillars of fire again, we fight them. So yeah, it was good.
Skeletons, because those zombies, anytime you summon them, they walk so slow.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
Guys.
you had to count on the bad guys going after them instead of them going to the bad guys, but there was still it's just great flow to the gameplay. You know, like all that is really well thought out.
Really stopped to do anything was to assign your stats, or when you're
or
when you do make it to town and you start looking to see if there's loot or something.
There is some, but it's not as
but they streamlined it as much as you could, where you're not constantly taking a portal to town, so you can unload everything, and then you had a portal back, and then maybe buy more portal potions. But they got the pet thing from, I think, Dungeon Siege, because that's where that first showed up with the pet.
Oh, okay.
They were the first one that allowed you to have like a donkey initially, and I don't know if you could send the donkey to town.
Yeah, there's other games that had pets in them, but I don't know if they had one where you can actually send them back to town like that.
Yeah, in Dungeon Siege you couldn't send them to town, but you could have it for extra inventory. And I remember, and this is just a side note, in Dungeon Siege you could have like 8 people to your group, and I think I had half my group donkeys.
Just carrying your equipment.
I was one of those people who had this weird, at least with Dungeon Siege, OCD, at least initially, where I'd pick up everything.
Yeah.
Like, at least at the start of the game, I'd pick up everything just so I could sell it, so I could have enough money for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
And so my initial 3-4 hours of the game was just me picking up everything. And then eventually I'd be like, okay, I don't need to pick up grays anymore.
Right. So moving on, graphics. What do you think of the graphics?
I enjoy it. I like that style.
Yeah.
You know, I guess it's, a lot of people describe it as very World of Warcraft-ish with the design, kind of slightly cartoony, animated look to it and stuff. But I enjoyed it. You know, it's not like a beast to your computer when you're playing it or anything. I like the aesthetics. I like, just everything flowed nicely. It felt really well animated, and
I think that's why they went that route, because they wanted to make it, available on as many PCs as possible. So that's a good way of doing it. And you get a good looking game, and the cartoony look of it fits.
It was fantasy feeling. It felt very fantasy adventure like.
It fits the setting, and it fits the action on the screen.
And it stayed true to the first game. The first game looked very similar in that sense. Right. I'm sure they updated a lot of stuff because you were doing more than just dungeon crawling. But every environment, you looked amazing. There were a few environments where sometimes there wouldn't be much there. It would just be an open area sometimes. But everything, it looked clean and it looked good.
Yeah. The interface was all well done. I had no problems with that as far as I can remember. Everything there looks good. I do tend to put, and I'm glad that the game gave me the freedom to do this. I don't like having my quick keys on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I hate having the numbers up there because I find that unnatural to hold my hand on the keyboard like that. I like having them on A, S, D, F, G, like I'm typing, And a lot of these style of games, these Diablo-like games, will not allow you to do that. They won't allow you to switch over the keys over there. It's a pain in the ass because a lot of times there's other short key commands already assigned to those, so you have to juggle them in and out. But thankfully, this game allowed me to do that.
Q. No, that was just me. I did that because I changed my hotkeys for healing and mana to my Q and. Because if I say that, people will be like, what is he talking about? Because, those are different. Yeah, because I changed my keys around, which is nuts because I talked to my brother-in-law, and I'm just like, hit the Q button. He's like, why? What's the Q button? Oh, wait, no, I reassigned that button. That's not the right thing.
I've done that to Sarah, too, because she'll ask me, well, how do I do this? And I'm like, well, just hit that button. It doesn't work. Well, it works for me. And then I realized, I remapped that.
So this is something. What was your combo? Because everyone has their combo on their hotkey. You get in a big situation, you start off with this attack, and then you hit that attack, and then do you have a certain combo you'd go into when you do mobs? Because I'd have my hotkey set up with how I'd hit my combo. I'd hit my 1, 2, 3, 4, and then that would just be how I'd do my attack. You'd set it up to how your usual attack pattern would be. Did you have a combo to it, or were you situational?
Situational. Like for the most part, my go-to was the Pillars of Fire, and then while that was like they were doing their thing, I did have another one that was like I'd have to aim it and shoot fireballs, but then I realized there was other area of attack that I could do as well. So I had another one where it would just it would just put a ring of fire around you and expand out. So I started putting all my points into that, and so that I would do that and do the other one, and then I would just stay out of the way, and let them do their thing.
I remember not so much with my Berserker because again he was mostly a melee class, but with my engineer class, I had this combo that I just loved because he could throw out these spider mines. So the first thing I'd get there, I'd just be standing off, I'd throw out the spider mines, they'd run after the mob, I'd do a charge attack, which I'd run right into the thick of it, do a stomp, which would daze them. Then I'd have this other attack that would do an AoE that would just annihilate everyone around me. And it was just this 3-hit combo that would just decimate everyone. It was such a satisfying thing. You just throw out the mines, you'd stun them, you'd hit them again, you'd come out of it, you're like, yeah, now I'm a badass, But that was my usual good thing. Oh, that's my text. Don't worry about it.
All right. I put down audio here. I don't like the audio is good. It's all competent and all that. There isn't really too much that stood out. I believe I turned off the music, which I usually do in these kind of games because I find it distracting. I know that's sacrilege to a lot of people, but the only audio that really stood out to me was the announcer guy when you'd send your dog out. He'd say, "Your dog has departed," or "Your pet has departed." "Your pet has returned."
I liked the music. I think you should have kept it on. I'd like even when I was
it's too distracting for me. It could be the greatest pieces of music ever.
It's not overpowering in this. It's actually quite calming. Like the main title screen music is a good example of what the music is. It doesn't get too over ramped. It's actually fairly relaxing music. And it'll get exciting during battles and stuff.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't need that extra. I'm already fighting the boss. I don't need like I don't need all that stuff. Just let me play the game.
I like the music, and I think it's worth at least keeping at 20% volume or 10%
off.
Yeah, I know.
I play the games the way I want to play it. You play the games you way. And I turn it off.
I don't have an opinion on music then. Jeez.
Well, I like rock and roll. Like that's my thing, when I'm listening to music. But I do like
a game rock and roll soundtrack. You'd be like, this is the best thing ever.
I just get it's just too much. I just get distracted. I don't know.
As for sound effects, it was I don't know. It was fine. It was a pretty generic fare. It was a fantasy game. You heard the only thing that was based in the real world is if you used like a gun or something with your character in the archer class. Otherwise it's all just twangs and
voice acting was all voice acting was good.
The monsters didn't really even make that much noise either in the game for the most part. It was just hordes of monsters and you move on. So nothing spectacular, but I got the job done, and like I said, I like the music. So
okay, so next up is multiplayer. Now this is where I'm going to have a little bit of a criticism for it, and it's not it is a little bit of the game's fault. This is so I played this game. I played most of the game with Sarah and my wife Sarah, and I wasn't really paying attention to what she was doing, and my character was like OP as crazy, so I was doing all the heavy lifting throughout the game. And while she was playing, she was like, she would find something. She's like, "Oh, this is a really good weapon, so I'm going to put all my points into sword." And then she'd find a staff. "Oh, this is a really good staff. I'm going to put all my points in here, and I'm going to put." So we were very far in the game. We were in the Witch's Bog. I don't know if you remember that one. So we're like, we maybe got like 2 or 3 more levels. Sorry?
I like the atmosphere in that level.
Yeah, it's good atmosphere. But we're fairly close to the game. We got probably maybe 2 or 3 more bosses to fight. But I get so we get into that area, and I get into the fight with the witch. We both go in there and fight the witch, and she dies. So while she died, and she's she warps back to the beginning of the level because she wanted to save her gold, which, I mean, you end up with so much gold in this game that you might as well just spent the money to warp right back to where we were. But I ended up beating the witch. She's running back towards me. I pressed a little bit too far. I went a little bit too far, and I was out of the witch's area. No problem. We'll go back and we'll fight the witch again, and then she'll get hurt because she couldn't progress in the game, right? Until this witch was beaten. I could, but she couldn't. So no problem. We'll go in there and we'll beat it together. So we try to go back. She can go in there. I can't because I've already beaten the witch. I can't go in there. So now she's got to take care of this witch on her own. Now, because she spread all of her points out, all evenly, her character just cannot. I tried. She tried. We tried for like a couple hours trying to beat this witch, so the only way that she could beat it with this character is go back, start grinding up on one specific thing, and go in there. And she just wasn't having it. Like Sarah was like, "Okay, I'm done with this game. Like this sucks." Like, and it was. And
there's play a lot of action RPGs or no?
Enough, but like, she plays them once in a while and she can't remember like what the heck that she did the last time or whatever. And it was a little thing that she forgot to do. But this game does not allow you to restart your character like other games do. You can go back a few, like I think it was like 3 or 4 levels and get some points back, so you can put move some stuff around, but not a lot. And there really should have been an option, because she had so much money too, just to pay in the game or whatever, to restart her character and to put all of her points into 1 or 2 things, so she can get through there.
Your skills, but you can't respec your, your strength, stamina, blah blah blah, right? Only
like the last 3 or 4.
Yeah, because I could have sworn you could respec all of your skills if you really wanted to. You just
have
to pay a lot. I could have sworn.
Nope.
I just never did it. That's why I don't remember.
True. Go ahead and try it. We looked at everything. We could not.
I never really messed with. I might have back in the day, but I didn't mess with it this time because
and we looked it up online, and other people were complaining about the same thing, that you can only go back.
That would be annoying. Like I said, I played multiplayer a lot back in the day. I just didn't get to this time. So the one thing is like I did have a friend who like when he dives into a game, he does, and like within 2 days he beat New Game Plus, and he had an OP character. He's like, let's play multiplayer. And so he was way ahead of where I was and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm still trying to run through on my own. He's like, oh, jump in, I'll host it. But of course, when he hosts it, you go to where he is.
Right.
And of course, the whole point of it is like, they do kind of level. Do they level down for you? Or do you I can't remember that.
No, I like no, it doesn't, because where she was in the game, like she would have never made it that far with that character without me helping her, right?
I think that was one of my problems is if you get into a match, you'd have to make sure, and I think I told him next time, just like, you have a weaker character so we can play multiplayer together, because he just wanted to show off how OP his character was, but my character was like 10 levels, 20 levels below him or whatever.
Yeah.
And so it kind of, and great, I was leveling up substantially, but I literally was just following him around while he killed everybody. And, and the fact that you don't have to share loot, that's kind of nice. Everyone gets their own loot.
Yeah, that is.
So if you do multiplayer, highly suggest make sure everyone's the same level, at least, so you can enjoy it quite well. At least that's my experience, if I can remember. I wasn't able to, unfortunately, get into multiplayer, but
wow. It was just really disappointing to see this game do so much right. And then when it came to this, it'd be like, okay, no problem. We'll just go find where you go to reset all of your skill points. And you couldn't do it. And it was like, come on.
Someone probably made a mod for it. That's all I'm saying. But
well, here's the thing with the mods, and that's the next thing. So let's talk about the mods. Every time we would mess around with the mods, it would say, hey,
you can't.
You can do this, but you're going to lose all of your progress, and it was just like, what's the point? Like, we're going to restart the game all, like, we were fairly close to the end of the game.
Oh, okay. So
like we were at the Witch's Bog, which is like, so we would have to restart the game all the way to start if we put any sort of mod in there that would allow you to do that. Yeah. And when we started, we debated on whether or not to play with mods, and we decided not to play with mods this time because of that. Because I had a character and I wanted to play New Game Plus, and yeah, sucked.
Okay. Yeah. But no here, no there. The mods are pretty fun if you just want to mess around, because it does everything from, you can do everything from making it substantially. I remember I had these 2 mods installed with my character, which installed tons of new classes, like tons of new classes, tons of new spells, trees, everything else. And then it didn't double. It like quadrupled the amount of enemies on the map at the same time.
Yeah.
So literally you would get to a screen of bad guys and it would probably take you 5 minutes to get through a battle, because you just get a constant swarm of it. But what would make it fun is if you put one of those OP mods with it that gave you like insane spells and everything else. You were just sitting there just ripping through them. So it kind of balanced it out. So there were those, and there were other ones that tried to balance it out and make, new classes that weren't completely OP. Or I knew there were some completely like total conversion maps that people were making.
Yeah.
Excuse me, and stuff like that. So that was always fun. And it did have its mod loader, and you could set what the priority was if you wanted to use this or turn this on or turn that off. So that was kind of cool. Instead of it just, loading it all willy-nilly and hoping it would work, a lot of times it would tell you if there was going to be a conflict or something like that. So
yeah,
that's what I always kind of liked about it. I didn't dive too much into it this time around with the mods because I wanted to get the OG experience with it, but earlier on I just downloaded every mod possible for it and messed around with it.
Yeah, I didn't use them too much this time around, but in the past I have, and it was mostly just little what do they call it, improvement, like just little improvements. What do they call that? The quality of life changes, like just simple things, like instead of you had a limit to the amount of potions you could put into one slot, I just make it unlimited kind of thing. So you could just have your potions just taking up one slot instead of a bunch. So just little things like that. Nothing too crazy, because I really don't, like I said, I don't play I find a lot of mods are for people who played the game so much. You played through it 20 times that you're looking for something else. You're looking for another challenge or just something else to mess around with the game. So now you can do this, now you can do that. So
no, not necessarily.
If I only play the game once, I want the original experience. I don't want it tainted with mods, unless it's like, just like it can't play the game in 4K, so I want to see it in 4K or whatever. I still want that vanilla experience at least the first time I play it.
Oh yeah, but I'm just one of those people that I'll just mess around with mods just to see what kind of goofy stuff will happen in a game anyway. I'm one of those people. I bought Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, Vice City for the PC, and I never played through the original game. I just download mods for it all day long. I've never actually played the OG Grand Theft Auto on my PC because there were so many awesome mods for it instead. So,
right.
But to each their own. But in this case, I do suggest playing through it vanilla before diving too deeply into mods. And of course, when you do that, it kind of forces you to start a new character anyway. So
Yep. So that was unfortunate with the mods too, that it wouldn't let you just use the character that you already had. Because that would have been really nice if we could just download a mod and then she could fix her character. Get through that area. But
so what did you think of the monsters? What did you think of the progression when it came to those? And so did you enjoy the bosses? Do you think they were original enough? Did you have a favorite boss or anything like that, or monster for that matter in it? Were they memorable, kind of like when playing Diablo and reaching those kind of things, or do you think they were just kind of throwaway in a sense?
I wouldn't say throwaway. They were fine. Like nothing really stood out to me. Like I'm trying to think of like an attack, or not one of them was like annoying or anything like that. They did seem a little generic, you know, like everything, like, you know, you got your skeleton and your, uh, yeah,
fantasy.
like it was all typical stuff, but they were
Did you
fun and they,
the genie, where the genie was kind of the boss, or was kind of like a genie
yeah,
boss? Yeah,
yeah,
I don't know. For some reason, that one always stood out to me. I enjoyed that one. I don't know why. It was a hard one too,
yeah.
but you know, but
But I did find, like, you know, every area kind of had its own flavor. You were never in an area too long, you know, like it wouldn't, you wouldn't feel like as if you overstayed your welcome. When you got into a new area, you were fighting new enemies and stuff. So yeah, it was all good. You know, like the gameplay was good, the action was good. So I didn't really, yeah, didn't really dwell on it too much, I guess.
no, I enjoy. I especially, you know, and there's plenty of side quests. I mean, you could plow through it without it and stuff, but there's plenty of side quests littered around, fetch quests. I still haven't found all the robot parts to this
Oh, I
day.
did, but I didn't. I
Oh,
didn't the first time, but I did this time.
this time I didn't get quite all the way through with my characters to know, but the first I still have to find one more piece with my OG character or something like that.
Yeah, there's one in a really tricky spot. I did have to look it up online to get the last one. It was in a spot that you wouldn't think it would be, but I did get them all and did that whole side quest. I did find the side quest worth doing,
Yeah.
and you know, if you wanted to keep your character leveled, you know, high enough as to get through, because I don't think they do scale. Like they didn't seem to scale to me.
Here's the thing, and this is and to talk about pet peeves a little. I like this game a lot. It's one of my favorite action RPGs of all time. But I am critical. I don't like the fact that, at least on the main map that you're walking around, monsters don't respawn. Like if you reload or something like that. If you do a side quest and go into one of those side dungeons, the monsters will respawn after a time.
Yeah,
So if you do want to grind, if you do want to level up, because in the harder difficulties, like the one that I found, oh God, yeah, I'm going to have to grind a little. The only way to do it is you got to just keep going through some of those side quests over and over again, where the monsters do respawn, but they don't, you know, the levels stay the same. So, you know, they'll eventually get easier and easier. So that's always kind of been my pet peeve, is when the monsters on the overworld don't respawn.
mm. I kind of like that because
I know, but
there was a lot of exploration, you
mhm.
know, so you're running back and
Yeah, it was
you're
big
running
enough.
back and forth, and if you had to fight them every time, it would have gotten really
Well,
tiring.
and I see that, and I see why they did that compromise, because I know when it comes to some people with RPGs, they like the idea of the monsters responding so they can use it for grinding, use it for leveling up. So that's why they made it so, like, the side missions or the dungeons, the
Yeah,
monsters will respond. You just go back there.
yeah.
So I don't know. That was always kind of my little pet peeve. There was another game that did that too, uh, but yeah. So kind of my only real pet peeve with that aspect. Other than that, I don't know. There's not really much. You have any other peeves beside multiplayer about this? Anything that irritates you while playing?
No, that was really it. That, that was the big one because it just sucked that we couldn't finish the game. Sarah still hasn't finished the game,
Oh
which is
no,
unfortunate.
I guess.
She'll probably go back to it and play it again at some point, like
Yeah.
just start fresh,
Yeah.
and you know, make sure that she.
I fell into that trap so many times early on when I started playing action RPGs. Is I would get this severe anxiety with how I was leveling up my character. I would never. To this day, I still kind of do, especially
Oh
if
yeah,
I'm
me too.
I don't know. I'm just like, am I putting points in the right thing? You know?
Totally.
And
I'll even go online sometimes and just make sure that am I doing this right, you know, kind of thing. Just see what other people say, and of course, every time you go check online to say where
always,
should I put my points, how should I do it,
everyone,
they'll always say the exact same thing. It's well, it's whatever you want to do. It's an RPG. Do whatever you want. You should play the game, and it's like shut up. Just tell me like,
I don't
just
know.
give me some direction because I want to make sure that you know and a lot of the better games will give you a better description of what you're doing, like how you're, and this game does do that fairly well. Like the descriptions for everything was right there in the game, so you could kind of tell if you were doing an area attack or something like that. Or like I love passive, anything that's passive. I love that because again, it's not something I have to babysit. You know, it's just like You put the points in this, you don't have to worry. The game's going to do it for you. Excellent. Anything that's passive, I am for it. Active, I don't need anything more to do.
I just wanted to play itself. Why do I have to put my hands on these keyboards?
Well, if you're going to give me the option between two like an active and a passive, or two active things, like I got to do two things, or I could just concentrate on one thing and let the game take care of something else, I'm going to do that every single time.
And the kind of cool thing about this is, and I know some games like Diablo, like weapons are set to certain classes. But if you want to be a mage that uses a crossbow,
yeah,
or a sledgehammer, you can do that in this game. You know,
yeah.
you can level it up that way. It might misbalance you in the magic department, but you know, you could take a berserker and make them a range class, for crying out loud, if you really want to. And so that's kind of cool. It's just knowing what to put the points into and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that was another thing. Like later on, like the later you get into the game, the requirements for weapons and armor get a little higher. Like you need not only strength,
yeah,
you need this much dexterity, or in this. And so sometimes you'll just like, oh, I have tons of strength, but no, I don't have any of this, you know?
Yeah.
And that's where it would always get me, is like, was I supposed to be leveling that up all along? Now I can't use this hammer? That's an awesome hammer.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I will say that is one thing. And this is kind of the thing with pretty much every loot game. It's not just exclusive to Torchlight II, is that it felt like as if, like, it was okay. It was a little better in this game, but it still felt a little bit like a lot of the loot I was getting was just trash. It was just junk. It was not enough of it was useful, you know. And if you wanted to find, I remember trying to find like a complete set of something, because that was one of the achievements, to find a complete set. And I never did, because
I did that once when I first played the game.
Yeah.
But the problem is the complete set was never any good to wear. Like,
right. Like by the time you do all the grinding to get the complete set, it's a useless complete set.
And you'd always have the most mismatched armor on too.
Yeah.
Like you have this really cool helmet, but then you'd have like this cloth armor.
Right.
And then, like,
yeah.
the sleeves would be like something, and you just look like a mess. And that would always kind of tick me off. That's why I like they started putting in some of the more modern games, like you can have how you aesthetically look versus what your armor is.
Right.
I like that. Like I think Terraria does that, where I know it's apples to oranges between that, but you can have, if you like a certain armor, you can put that as how you look versus what you're wearing.
Yeah, and you can even, on some games, I think a lot of games now, you can change the color of it, so at least your color scheme is all of it. If you care, I never really care about that stuff. The characters are so small on the screen, I just don't. Whatever.
It's like you find a new weapon or armor sometimes, and you look at the stats, you're like, good Lord, this will be great. And then you compare it to what you're using, and you're looking at the stats to what you're using, you're like, and that always confused me. And I never got like the DPS thing versus whatever. And
yeah, no, me neither.
And you equip it, and then it's like, why is this so much worse? By all extensive purposes, all these numbers are saying this should be so much better.
Yeah.
But that's where the gem system comes in, which is something thinking you can put gems on sockets on your armor and your weapons, so you can have a complete trash weapon. But if you take the time to put powerful gems in it, you can make that thing as OP as ever. And so, yeah, you might get this really awesome weapon from a boss, but you're never going to want to use it. And so you're going to be going through the game with the same weapon practically until you find another one that you can. And that's another cool thing, is you can take and I'd always destroy the weapon and keep the gems, and so you can resocket them. So that's kind of a cool aspect to it. And all you're just doing is completely leveling up piece of trash weapons to make them as OP as ever, basically. But I like the gem system. I really do. The socket system, as they call it.
That's a carryover from Diablo as well, right? Isn't there gems in Diablo?
Diablo 2.
I know there's gems in a bunch of games. You know, I'm pretty sure it's in Diablo 2.
I know there's enchantment in other games, which enchantment is another thing in this one too, where you can actually. They just threw everything into this game. They have gems, enchantment.
And it all works pretty well. Yeah, and if you're right, if you do there's some armor and weapons that will have multiple slots as well. So if you find something, like, it might be a crappy weapon, but if it has 4 slots in it, you can put 4 gems in it and make yourself a decent staff or whatever.
That did poison, fire, and ice damage.
Yeah. See, concentrated
on
everything on fire. So if it gave me a fire boost because of my pillars of fire,
Then what happens?
and
Fire elementals. What happens then? They're immune to
you,
fire.
you know what? I didn't really run into that many, and I did have an ice spell as a backup in case I did run into that, because I've have run into that in other games. I don't believe I ran into that one in this game, and if it there was some that said that they were immune, but my pillars of death were just way too powerful. Even if they were immune to it, they'd get wiped out anyways.
Oh yeah.
And maybe lose my train of thought. I was going to say something else.
Oh damn, sorry.
Oh well,
Gems,
it is what it is.
rockets, darn. I don't know.
I can't remember. It was a good point too. Let me tell you.
It would have changed the course of this entire podcast.
It was going to tie it all in together.
How all the systems work together. How they,
No, I don't know. I can't remember now.
Darn it.
Oh, and you can upgrade. Maybe that's what it was. You can upgrade the gems as well too. You can
sock them together.
Sock them. Yeah.
Take 3 of the same kind and put it together.
I remember the other thing too. It was fire and regenerating health. I love regenerating health. That's my very favorite thing.
Yeah.
It's like the faster the health bar goes up,
I kept
the
less
better.
armor just because I had regenerative health
Yep.
on the armor.
Yep, me too. Because it's more handy,
Or leech or something like that, because you could add leech to a weapon, so while you're attacking, you're getting health back.
Yeah.
So, and that was always helpful. It's like, not only am I hurting you, I'm getting healthier. Yay!
Yeah. Okay, well, I guess we're coming up to the final thoughts. Well, we're both fans of the game. I don't know. It's even a dumb question. Like, would you recommend other people play this game? Of course.
Of course. It's especially if you're a fan of action RPGs. If you are a fan of action RPGs, this already probably should have been on your radar.
Yeah. What are you doing listening to a podcast on Torchlight II if you're not a fan?
I would suggest, skip the new one, skip 3, because that, I don't know what they're doing with that.
There's some issues with 3, yeah, apparently.
The first Torchlight comes out, get that on sale, but definitely get Torchlight 2. Torchlight 1, it's a nice throwback, but Torchlight 2, if you got to, it's a must-have. I don't know. You can get it on GOG. You can get it on Steam. You can get it on a potato. It's pretty much everywhere.
I got to say that the only thing I don't know how I know that there's mixed reviews for some of the console ports.
Yeah, I don't know about those.
I don't know either. This is the PC podcast.
Action RPGs were meant to be played on a PC.
I agreed. I have heard good things about Diablo 3. Like some people say, like what they did to Diablo 3 for the consoles is really good. And I know people have gotten addicted to them and love those games on the consoles. I haven't played them myself. I'm a mouse and keyboard guy when it comes to those kind of games.
Leave your comments down below or over there or
sure, wherever.
Yeah. If you've played it on the console.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would say you can get Torchlight 1 and 2 very cheap on a sale. I think it is the some of the best ARPGs that you can get. I think they're great for beginners. They're very approachable for beginners.
If you've never played an action RPG, this is a great one to start with. Especially since you can send your inventory isn't always encumbering you, and you can send your pet and stuff.
It just has great flow. Like it's such a great flow to it that I just can imagine.
You can't screw up, but
you can.
Your wife got into that, but just have fun.
As long as you find find some keep in mind, like if you got a character that's a mage, like don't be picking up hammers and stuff like that, like unless you know what you're doing. Just stick to the mage stuff. And stick to, if you concentrate on just a couple of things and up in those powers, you'll always be powerful enough to take on all the enemies. If you start spreading stuff out, and this is pretty much with any RPG, if you start spreading stuff out too thin, then you'll be too weak. You won't be able to keep up.
Build a character because you got a shiny new weapon that you're not level.
Yeah, it's not good.
It has nothing to do with your character class.
Yeah.
So later on, once you've played through it and you get the familiar with it, then you can experiment. Then you can make a a melee mage class. You know, go for it then.
Sure. Yeah, you can always challenge yourself that way, but when playing any of these games, you want to start off at the beginning and concentrate on that one thing.
User friendly, all that good stuff, and like I said, you can always get a buddy to play with.
Yep.
But yeah, 10 out of 10, best action RPG ever. Diablo killer confirmed.
Well, I don't know if it's Diablo killer. I mean, Diablo came back pretty strong, and I gotta say, when it comes to the multiplayer, Diablo still has the edge over Torchlight 2. You can reset your character in Diablo 2. Sarah and I did play Diablo 3 all the way through 2 and 3 all the way through without any issues.
Fun fact, and this is probably a story I could probably save for when we do Diablo 2, but screw it, I don't give a flying. Anyway, the first time I ever played an action RPG was at a LAN party, and we were playing first-person shooters, and somebody booted up Diablo 2. And that was my first experience ever playing an action RPG. It was way back in those days where you're lugging your computers. We had like 6 people in a house playing all hours of the night. That was the first time I ever played an action RPG. It was Diablo 2, and I hated it. I didn't like it at the time, but that was a way long ago, back when life was simpler.
For me, mine was Nox. Nox was my first one.
Oh God, that is
good. You should play that at some point.
It is a good game, especially the cheat codes. I love the cheat codes in that one.
Anyways, I would give Torchlight 2 a 9 out of 10. It just loses a point for that one thing. We couldn't finish the game, but everything else is great. It's a good game. Good times. Okay.
Great.
That's it. We finally did it. We talked about Torchlight 2.
I wish we would have had someone else on that could have countered any of this.
Apparently he had some issues.
Yes. Some work issues.
He's not here, so
we'll give him hell about it next time. I get hell anytime I miss one. So,
well, honestly, I would have liked to heard Josh's opinion, because maybe he would bring up things that we didn't have thought of.
He mentioned he had a harder time getting into it. So,
well, honestly, and I know he might be listening, but honestly, I think he might have that PS5 fever. He got himself a PS5.
Holidays,
and that's got to be a big distraction when you're like, play this PC game, and you got this brand new PS5 there with that awesome.
We're gonna have to get a substitute till the PS5 fever wears off. We have third.
The PS5 with its awesome 30 frames per second and that whole whopping, what is it, 720p that comes out of that thing.
As a birthday gift to myself, I installed 16 gigs of RAM instead of the 8 in my computer.
Oh, nice. Very good.
Believe it or not, it actually made a difference. Thanks to you, actually. After you made a comment, I'm just like, yeah, I never looked at that. I should do that.
Yeah, absolutely. 16 gigs is the way to go. So that improved things. What about graphics card? You still looking at getting a graphics card?
I don't have the go ahead for it.
I see. Gotcha.
I do have a friend who still hasn't gotten me a birthday present. I might convince him to get me one, because but I feel bad kind of doing that. I feel manipulative when
you're fine. You're getting what you want.
Could you buy me this $200 video card out of your own money for my birthday? We've only known each other for 30 years? Come on.
Yeah. Come on. That's good.
So I don't know. So I'm still looking into it. But
cool. Well, it's good that the extra RAM has helped you out
a little bit. Still got to run everything on low quality, but at least they run a little better.
Well, one game I think you can run on high quality is next month's game, Screamer 2. Is that was that the main racing game we're supposed to be playing? Screamer 2.
Screamer 2.
Right.
You just have racing games. I think it was 2, which you can get on. I'm pretty sure GOG.
Absolutely, you can.
Yeah, you can. Did you find a mod to increase the resolution or something?
Yes,
you did.
And give you gamepad support and all that. I put it in the Discord. It's in the game of the month section in our Discord. So
maybe repost it just because it's.
I don't think it's that far back. It's
God, I logged in the other day just to post that there was a free game, and I'm just like, man, I haven't talked on here for a while.
yeah.
Conversations. I am so bad at that.
It is not that far back in the conversation.
Plus, also a game of your choosing is part of it. So Screamer 2 is kind of the official game. If you don't feel like it, just play a racing game, play along.
Yeah. I think Josh is playing Trackmania 2, and it's unfortunate he's not here again because I have some questions for him. Because I tried playing Trackmania 2, and I can't figure out where the racing game is.
Trackmania Nations Forever is also free, and you can get that on Steam. I know the one is on Epic that's apparently free, but the Trackmania Nations Forever, that one is free on Steam. It's a little older, and yeah. The other game I'm going to play might shock you people, or maybe not, but we will see if you can even call it a racing game.
Oh, you can announce it now. You can say it now.
No, because I was going to try to find this super serial game,
okay,
game, and then my son keeps wanting me to play this game called Toy Box Turbos.
Oh, I've played that,
and it's kind of like Matchbox racing, where you're playing as toy cars.
Yeah,
all the tracks are these giant, tables and and this.
Yeah, that's cool. I like those. Like that's like
play turbos, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that reminds me of what the heck was the name of that game? Revolt.
Yeah,
Revolt's
a good game.
Yeah. Oh, Revolt is good. Like the first few tracks are good, and then there's a bit of a spike in that game.
Well, I'm going off nostalgia here because I haven't played it in a while. I don't even know if you can get that anymore, though.
Yep. Oh yeah, it's on GOG for sure. Mm-hmm.
Okay, because that's another one. Another one I want to suggest to people: check out Horizon Chase Turbo. That's a kind of a.
Oh, that game is so good.
That's a very good game as well.
Excellent game.
Really, really fun.
Yeah.
So those are kind of my recommendations. But Toy Box Turbo is a fun little arcadey one you can play with your kids. So if you have kids, definitely check that one out.
Well, I've been playing Forza Horizon 4.
Okay.
Which is good times. I just went in there and cleaned up some achievements that I didn't have. It was winter season again, so I got some achievements that you can only get in the winter time. So I've been playing a little bit of that and Forza 7 as well.
Okay.
So we'll be talking more in depth about that next month.
Oh, yeah. I so wish the old Need for Speeds were.
Me too.
Instead of the brand new ones that I don't have any interest in.
I do have, I got Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2 working on my PC, but I had to jump through some hoops to get it running, and I don't know if other people would be willing to do that. So,
Microsoft Midtown Madness, I have that up here.
That's a good one too.
But again, you can't find it anywhere.
No.
Why?
I think I have that game.
I thought I had Need for Speed up here with this. I thought I had Need for Speed 3 up here.
I got that one.
Yeah. Probably in my other CDs. We still got to do like a CD episode where we're just showing all our old CDs.
Oh, yeah.
Remember when we could play this?
Yeah. Yeah, I just found a bunch of them in a bag, in a box. I opened it up and I'm like, oh, that's where all these went. And that was good.
Oh, awesome. Oh, well.
Okay, well, I think that is our show. That is our episode.
There we are.
I hope you enjoyed it. It took us forever to get here, but we did finally get here.
Go play some racing games. It is now 2021, a new beginning.
Yes.
A new season. Well, not season. A new start for our podcast. Our season doesn't start till
April, but we're doing that. We're turning the page on the 2-month thing.
Yeah.
Going for the month thing. So
now
there you go. And I like our lineup. We're doing the mods, so we'll be able to talk about mods. Then we got Shadow Warrior, and then we got Crystal Keys.
OG, or we're just going to say play either the OG or the new one with that one?
I don't know.
I got to tell you.
I don't know. I mean, I think both games are they're 8-hour games. So I think you could play them both if you want. Yeah. I guess we would go with the original, right? We got to start with the original. Can you believe Duke Nukem was on the? I think it came out on the 29th. I think it came out yesterday. in 1996. So it's Duke Nukem 3D.
Technically old enough to be able to play that game.
It is 25 years old now.
I know.
Years old.
God.
It's wild.
Fart.
It's a quarter of a century old.
Still one of the best first-person shooters ever made.
I agree. Some other people say it's not necessary to play it, but not us.
You know.
I think it's great. Okay. That's it, everybody. Thanks for watching and listening.
And Discord and all that good stuff.
Yes. Go check that all out. Links
should be in the description below. I hope.
Maybe. Hopefully. Somewhere.
Whoever uploads this usually does that. It's not me.
Not me either. I guess I'll be editing this and then handing it off to Josh, and hopefully he'll pass it on.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
All right.
Okay.
Bonk.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.